Hello and welcome to another episode of Combos and Chill. This is the second episode of season two, which I am taking a different route with this whole thing. And I have my good friend Hamza. That tonight we're gonna be talking about we actually we actually discussed this and we wanted to do like a series, like a mini series regarding that the whole mindfulness and the whole growth mindset topic, and we wanted to talk about it into during three episodes. And without any further ado, today's topic is attention in the age of distraction, which we go through it our whole life on a daily basis. So, again, this is my good friend Hamza. He has been on the show before, so he's no stranger to the show. So, Hamza, please go ahead and just introduce yourself to the people that they're watching.
Thanks for having me, Ahmed. Appreciate it. Hello, everyone. My name is Hamza, and I'm a good friend of Dirty's actually. And we were just talking that we were just discussing about the whole concept of the growth mindset and about attention and mindfulness. And recently, there was the Mental Health Day just passed on the 10th of October, and I was thinking, what is the main cause of all these mental illnesses? What is if we can understand what is the main root of it all. And that's when I realized that our attention is the most valuable thing that we can cultivate. And if we can learn to curb those distractions that are out there, we can really start living in our true purpose and really go on this journey of self-discovery.
Mhm.
So it's been a topic of fascination of mine, been thinking a lot about it. So thought, why not talk about attention and how to focus one's attention and how to become indistractable.
Which it's a very good topic to talk about because you yourself, this is like very related to your job and like what you do for a living, which you're a technical recruiter and you're a career coach as well, which you need to focus on these points in any individual, which you started with yourself, and you're trying to impose this to other people and teach them about these things. It's a very great move that you're taking in your career, man. I mean, like, kudos to you, bro. And it's very good that we're dedicating time. I mean, it's we usually don't talk about these things. It's good that like-minded people are there so we can discuss these things. By the way, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. And if you guys have any questions while we're talking, please feel free to just comment in the comment section. We would love to answer your questions as much as we can. So, Hamza, let's hit it on, man. Let's talk about attention in the age of distraction. It's because it's a very critical topic, as in, it's not easy to keep track as a human being. We always get distracted. We get distracted very easily. So, just like just give us an introduction to it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited about talking about the power of one's attention in this age of distraction, and how we can become more conscious of one's attention.
Hmm.
So, basically, the concept is that we live in a world where everything is trying to steal your attention, from news to social media to advertising to politics, other things that are not in our locus of control but still pulling our attention. Just and the whole business model on these platforms is to drive more traffic, more engagement, more screen time
Hmm.
there, and your phone is the channel through which your attention is being taken away from your life,
Hmm.
um, and these distractions repeatedly, as they keep taking us away from the real issues, which we're going to dig in deeper soon, is can really take a toll on one's mental health. And
We already have
and as it,
sorry to cut you off. We already have
yeah.
a first question. Is Akila? She's saying, "Is ADHD a made up shit?"
Well, that's a good question. And ADHD, it is a real illness. Of course, it's but becoming very normal in today's day and age.
Hmm.
They're saying almost a lot of the young kids have some form of ADHD. So is that got to do with a physical illness that comes in from genes, or is it something that we've been conditioned to because our attention span is being taken away
Hmm.
from all these different things in distraction because we're always connected. So it's about seeing that. Of course, there's a physical cause to it as well, but at the same time, there's also the how our mind is being trained to just be constantly move jumping from thing to thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like ADHD is real. I do know people who really struggle with it, and a lot of them people are prescribed medicines for that.
Mm-hmm.
Medicines that are not really good for you, do have a lot of side effects. What if we looked at a more, different approach to ADHD and other mental illnesses? They're looking to a more holistic approach, and that's what some of the
Mm-hmm.
things we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so mental illness is on the rise, and the other thing is that many people are constantly living in their flight, fright, or freeze response, basically in their lower brain, the amygdala. That's where most people are living in because they're constantly triggered, and in this triggered space, that's constantly getting everyone to constantly be distracted because people are not grounded into their own selves.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain a bit more about the term? Can you repeat the term? Embala?
Uh,
What was it?
the amygdala. So it's
Amygdala.
basically
Can you
our
explain it for the
amygdala.
audience because I don't know it as well. So I'm sure you know.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a primitive part of our brain that's right there, and that's one of the first brains that, like the early stages that the brain was developed in the human mind,
Mm-hmm.
and that's basically a place where a fear response, a reactive mind is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so the upper part of a brain is where the more creative part, and we're more grounded and make decisions. But the amygdala is when we're in a state of fear, stress, anxiety. It just gets us into this, constantly go, go, go kind of a state. They
Mm-hmm.
also call it the reptilian brain, which
Mm-hmm.
is constantly flight or fright response. So I feel a lot of the world is living in this space, and some people are permanently in that. And of course, this state evolutionary was important for us to evolve, because if we didn't, then, if we see a tiger when in the Stone Age, we wouldn't know to run and what to do with it. So this actually is a survival mechanism that we all evolved from. But we don't live in a state where we're in constant survival today's day and age. But our mind is still jumps back to that state where we think all our problems and overthink ourselves into this fear response, into this fight, flight, or freeze response that's there. And it gets triggered through different things, through constantly looking at the news, looking at negativity, what's out there in the media, to
Mm-hmm.
other things. Is constantly making us be there. So the key is to take ourselves out of this uh, state, you know. But distraction is definitely a big thing in our society, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because technology is exponentially evolving quite fast, and everything is driving our attention towards our phones. And basically, we also have this thing in the Buddhist philosophy called the monkey mind. The
Mm-hmm.
monkey mind is the one that's restless, constantly jumping from thing to thing, always seeking some kind of a short-term satisfaction of tasks. And that's the monkey mind is the one that's in the driver's seat for most people in their mind and guiding their life. It's constantly jumping from thing to thing and just restlessness and moving through. So it's about curbing that monkey mind that's inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's different causes because of this monkey mind that causes us to get distracted. There's different ways. One of the most biggest one, of course, is addictive technology. It's lowering our attention span because we're constantly checking our phones.
Mm-hmm.
I think the amount of time that I check my phone is increasing week by week, year by year. How often? And
Man,
that's one of
daily,
the key things.
daily, daily. Like
Daily.
yeah, I could. I mean, I can see it in myself. I mean, just just let alone my niece, the way that she's very addictive to video games, and to this whole new wave of technology
Hmm.
is just getting way out of hand. As in,
Hmm.
as we talked last night, just to go through the topics that we want, like as we said, as me and Hamza discussed last night. The thing is, like, this topic is so like big, and it's like we cannot cover it in one go, which today we're going to be dedicating to just shed lights on the highlights of the main highlights, if we can manage to shed lights on these
Hmm.
things, which technology is
Hmm.
one of them. And it's like it's moving on, like like in the speed of light, man. We are just getting newer, like so many new things coming out, man. I mean, just like super crazy. So I actually all this was just to agree with you on the technology point.
Hmm. No, that's true. Technology is one, and that's one of the causes. Then technology is one thing, but in the end, it's us that gets triggered. So
Mm-hmm.
technology, we can blame technology as much as we want as well, but in the end, we have to learn to manage our own selves because
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important part. The other thing that we fall into is overthinking. Overthinking is a big cause as well. That constantly thinking about the past, what happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future, focused on worrying about money. To the other overthinking part people really get distracted from is what other people think of them. That's a huge one, that people get pulled towards. And that's also a distraction from one's life because nobody can live your life for you, only you can. So why are we giving them
Exactly.
so much power to care what other people think as much? They don't know the experiences you have gone through your life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing that we have to really learn to curb. So that also causes distraction in our life. The other thing again is the different time wasters that are there, that's keeping us away from our life. It could be people who are always bringing us down towards, or like not settling for a job that's actually not helping us in our life. Time wasting is very common, and the key is to realize that we only have a little bit of time on this planet. We're born, we die is one big moment. So you don't look through life, towards the end of your life, and see that, wow, I could have done this, not live in regret. So just being very cautious of one's time and valuing one's time is extremely important. Um, that's there. The other causes is again, which is linked to technology, but other things, the lowered attention span. uh, there's studies out there that talks about our attention span, and how before we used to have on average, a certain number of thoughts per minute, or how many seconds we can focus. They said before it was 12 seconds were an average attention span of human beings. But
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, in the modern days, in the last report, which is still a bit few years old, it was 7 seconds. So we can't hold a thought longer than 7 seconds. Um, and this brings to thought one of the things my dad always told me. He said, average minds spend about 15 to 20 thoughts per minute. Good minds, spend about 5 to 10 thoughts per minute, but people who really have their mental mastery and focus on have 0 to 4 thoughts per minute. So it's not about the quantity of thoughts that we have, but it's the quality of the thoughts. How long can we sustain a single thought and make into towards our goals? How can we direct our mind towards that? So it's about really bringing back our attention span, and that is basically the concentration, that our own concentration. We have to develop that. That's there.
Man,
And yeah.
I
Sorry, go
mean,
ahead.
the thing is, like, as I told you last night, I I think I'm the best guy for this session because I go through these problems myself on a daily basis. I told you,
Hmm.
like, you can use me as a test subject, just like use me as your patient or something like this. Just imagine you're like, I want to apply for for your business and stuff like this.
Hmm.
You are the head of the recruiters, and you are a career coach as well. So these are valid points that you can bring up. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think. By the way, guys, whoever's watching, do you guys really pay attention to your thoughts, or like, do you actually like give time to yourself to focus on one thought, or you get distracted very easily? Just let us know. I mean, we are here to discuss this issue because me personally, I'm going through it, which is I thought is like a normal thing, but
Hmm.
because it got so normalized in our day and age, which is it's a part of our society. It's part of the way we live. It's just like a lifestyle, which the people don't think it's an illness, but
Hmm.
it's good that we can share this information and talk about it because we don't usually do talk about these type
Hmm.
of issues, and it's very good that you actually like took it this way, and you're you really like a lot about this thing. So
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see that because I talk to, as you're talking in my career, I talk to a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
who are either looking for a job, looking to upgrade their lives, focus on better environment,
Mm-hmm.
better life in general, just finding their purpose. And when I talk to people and coach them, again, they're not clear about what they truly want sometimes. I ask people, what are the main things you value in a job? Because everything comes down to that. And once we align our values with our job, that's when you get full satisfaction. The key is people don't know sometimes that they just, I don't know, it's just something that they've been triggered towards or, sorry, conditioned towards through that this is what I need to do in my life, but they never really took the time to look inwards
Mm-hmm.
and find out what their passion was. And it made me realize that it's just not just a personal thing, but it's a collective thing that are constantly distracted by so many different things out there that we haven't taken time to look inside our own selves
Mm-hmm.
and see what we truly want. And so the key is that these distractions are just the tip of the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the key thing I would say is that these distractions are from a root cause, which are not be able to manage our own internal triggers. We're distracting ourselves from our own internal triggers that are there.
Mm-hmm.
And the internal triggers could be stuff like that we're just avoiding in our life, could be the emotions we're trying to avoid as well, could be boredom, could be anxiety, could be, feelings of self-esteem to other things,
Mm-hmm.
that's there. But the key is to, go face those to fully take us away from these distractive triggers. So you have to become curious towards one attention to go into to shift our mind to not try to avoid ourselves and distract ourselves from the real issues that are at bay, but becoming curious and facing them so we can truly understand and navigate through the triggers that pull me into a Twitter feed for 10 minutes after sending a text,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
or other
exactly,
things.
exactly. Yeah. I mean,
So
Uh,
sorry, go ahead.
okay, can you give us an example? Maybe I mean, obviously it happened in your life, which you
A lot.
realized it. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. So I mean, I can give few examples, but I want you because you're gonna be using your examples in like in a very informative way, so you can explain about the whole what you call it, like about the symptoms and the problems and
Hmm.
all this intertwined, connected illnesses with this distraction that is I mean, basically we talked about this last night as well. Basically we have that tendency to get distracted easily because our brain is processing shit ton of things in like one go.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
how in your in your eyes, where the whole thing starts, which you said technology is one of them, that is
Hmm.
just enhancing this problem. It's not helping
Hmm.
it. As you said, it depends on the person how they use it, which they need to
Hmm.
limit themselves and they can practice their
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
their side so they can
Hmm.
be better in it. But in your opinion, where the problem starts from, where it's reeking?
The problem starting from what's causing us to weaken our attention.
Yeah, yeah. I
You're
mean,
saying,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The whole
Well,
distraction.
there's different things, but technology is definitely a major part of it. It's always trying to pull our attention from it, and I'm sure people have seen the social dilemma, which talked about some interesting topics as well, which there that all these tech giants, all the people who are working there said that the technology is made to become addictive. It's all the colors and the things that's made us attracted to these apps. It gives us almost a dopamine release when we look through these apps. So for example, if I'm sending a text to you about something, and I send a text, I'm distracted or constantly like in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I send the text, I have a tendency to click on Instagram or Twitter. And I'm in going through the feed. And I didn't choose to go into that situation. It's just almost like a trigger that I just distracted me to as soon as I open my phone that I'm on my phone now. So let me check everything else at the same time. So it made me now I'm trying to be more conscious of every decision that I make when I open my phone. I'm using the phone for that reason only, and then I put it back in my pocket. But if I'm constantly, every time I get a notification, I open up my phone and I'm looking through all these things, it's going to be constantly distracting me, because the studies have come up, in work wise, I look at this too. in productivity at work is another topic that I talk about, especially in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we talk about that multitasking is a myth. Our minds can only technically focus on one thing at a time. And when we focus on too many things at a time, when you're switching from one task to another, it takes a little while for our mind to shift into that frame, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then coming back, it takes a little while to get into our frame. So if you're constantly jumping through, you won't be able to push your full concentration towards a task. So that's something that I've realized that we have to see that thinking that always jumping from thing to thing and having trying to multitask is not the right approach. But it's about raising awareness again on these issues, that some people think it's totally fine to do this and be on their phone. I think that's fine, everyone has their thing, but are they doing it consciously, or are they being distracted just unconsciously,
Mm-hmm.
unintentional intentions towards the phones, like you're constantly on autopilot almost that's
Mm-hmm.
doing it. I mean, it's fine if people want to use the phone, use their social media and feeds, but it's about doing that consciously and making a choice out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the reactive mind is constantly go, go, go. So we have to learn to uh, bring ourselves down in that grounded space, not being in that constant reactive mind, and bringing us bringing us back to that moment where we're connected with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
because technology is moving so fast, and it's crazy how fast we're accelerating. And the technology is just getting smarter and smarter. The data that all these platforms are collecting on us are getting stronger too. The algorithms of machine learning are getting so much more stronger as well. So they know us much better than sometimes we know ourselves, because they have so many different data points on what we like, what we don't like. So the
Exactly.
advertisements are getting smarter. Um, and advertisements are getting smarter, and they're able to pull our attention through these customized ads because they have all this data with them, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So we have to learn to, you know, just be more conscious of it. Just know that the that these platforms, what I've realized is that it's free. We're not paying anything for it. So we're not the customers. The customers are the advertisers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the advertiser getting stronger. And it's basically our attention, I've realized, is the product that is being sold to the advertisers. Our attention is a product that's being sold to the advertisers. And it's not just the attention, it's the gradual slight change in perception and behavior that is the product, which is
Mm-hmm.
getting them to buy this. So being aware of this is very important, because it's slowly changing our perceptions, and we're doing it all unconsciously, not realizing the impact technology is having on us.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in an age of fake news, we say we moved from an information age to the disinformation age. There's a lot of distractions out there. So there's so much information that we have to learn to sit through the right information out there. And once we can learn to, see what's truth or not, it's very important, because in the age of fake information, there's certain agendas by certain people that's trying to push a certain opinion, may it be for the US elections,
Mm-hmm.
each side trying to push their opinions to make the other person look worse, and, make articles and news.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and we have to learn to see that, do that consciously, and be able to sit through and see what is truth and what's not true, because again, the information is going to be, you're going to find conflicting information on the internet all
Mm-hmm.
the time now. There's always different opinions, but able to just train ourselves to focus on, and see that not all of it, just bring a more critical thinking mindset basically towards this stuff. It's very important. And this is, I mean, I understand, I think you also understand this stuff, but we need to teach our kids this
Which
more. 'Cause
sorry to cut you off, which like Justin commented, Justin Hall. Thank you for commenting, Justin. He's saying distractions means little to a person who is intensely focused on an important objective. High quality attention is only one pixel strong. We need to be ever more vigilant with our choices and reasons. Be more self-disciplined. And he's saying yes, self-awareness as well. He's agreeing to that point. Because it was very relevant to whatever
Great
you were
point.
explaining. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Great point, Justin. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Justin. It is true. Self-awareness is very important, because you have to make that a conscious choice to be pulled into this. If someone is focused on their goal and vision, that's the key. So, but one has to remove those distractions to get clear what their goal and their mission is.
Well,
But if
Hamza,
they're constantly distracted,
yeah, sorry, Hamza. I mean, sorry if I'm cutting you off because me, as I told you, I have a lot of questions to ask you because this is how I'm facing it on a daily basis as well. The thing
hmm
is, like, life situation or like your geographic placement on this earth, or it can be any obstacle in the way that can cause that illness or cause that that whole distraction, as we all agree that we have that tendency to be distracted
hmm
easily. So uh, with me it's like, I don't know how to put it. Okay, is like like not having like a solid like how to say it, not actually solid, as in like you cannot make solid decisions on the point, or you overthinking.
yeah,
I think it's my like it's the maximum damage that I've done to my body, like overthinking about
hmm
things that kind of was
yeah,
out of my power, but man, it made me lose my hair. Like, it made me like depressed, and like, the whole anxiety attacks and stuff like this. Like, it reaches to a point that I literally give up. So that whole giving up at the end, is it that I'm kind of like trying to get away from this? I'm trying to focus my attention on one thing, but I'm like, how to say it? I'm like giving up because I cannot focus on it. Is this one of the symptoms, or it can be?
can be. Could you elaborate on that a bit
As
more?
you're
More the
okay,
distract.
you're not able, you're not able to make like a decision on the spot. You overthink about the
Yeah.
like about the topic or the decision that you want to make,
hmm
and at the end, because you're not reaching to anywhere, you just give up.
hmm
Is that
hmm
again can be an illness? Sorry, can that lead to like to create
hmm
another illness for you, which is like you're just becoming a pessimist, or you're hopeless about a lot of things. So it kind
Yeah.
of it is related to the whole being distracted easily.
Yeah, it is. It starts from there, It's initially the distractions that keep us distracted from our goals, from our life purpose, and everything else. And the more we keep procrastinating on things, the worse and the more stronger we keep building our muscle in our mind to our neuroplasticity towards, distractions and getting used to those dopamine releases from these small little things that the likes and other things that are there and keeping us away. So they're all links, and eventually as we're more distracted we're going to be more stressed. As we're more stressed, our inflammation rises, goes up, and when that state goes in, we're more prone to diseases as well, that comes in through. So it's all sort of linked together, that it starts with taking our attention away from the real things that we can focus on in life. And as we keep getting more distracted, we're getting pulled away from everything else. And as we're constantly not control of our mind, we're just pulling in all the stuff that's life is throwing at us. And if we keep focusing, like news for example, we keep focusing on the news. I think I took a news break. I need to regulate myself, especially when the whole lockdown started in March. I realized there was so much news, corona this, corona that. And I realized it was impacting my own mental health. It was distracting me from my area. Of course, I believe in being well informed, so it's good to take those updates. But then I made a rule that I'm only going to check it once or twice a day, because impacting my mental health, and my mental health gets impacted, my physical health gets impacted, you know?
Exactly, exactly, yeah.
It's all linked together. So be able to consciously make decisions and prioritize what's important in one's life is very important. And you're talking about overthinking. I think it's very important to go into overthinking a bit. You have to know that overthinking comes from certain emotions that we're feeling about the past or the future. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually that where it stems from. But once you realize that you have to reframe your story in overthinking, realize that past and future is an illusion. All you have is this moment right now. Past and future is human created in our mind to navigate through our life in this reality. But in the end, life is one big moment. You're born and your die is one big moment, and it goes away so fast in our life. So, the key is to avoid overthinking is to bring yourself to the moment again, to the now, because the eternal now, that's all that you have. And one of the writers that really inspired me in this was Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now. And that's what really raised a lot of my awareness towards the moment and how much power we have once we come back to the moment.
Mm.
And then no distractions can come in when we're in the now. Um, Overthinking come from emotions, past emotions from past traumas or setbacks, that's making us think again. But know that every moment is a new moment, so you have an opportunity to recreate yourself and make those choices. But the key is to bring yourself to the moment when you're going through the overthinking. And the ways to do that is to ask yourself the right questions. Asking yourself the right questions. Maybe ask, why am I overthinking this? Go meta on it. And it really does help to facilitate, takes you away from the overthinking and really understand what's the root cause. So understanding those triggers again, because
Mm.
distractions is again, as I said, the tip of the iceberg. The key thing is the triggers, the things that we're not facing inside, that we're going through. That we're going through inside, and it's the uncomfortable feelings, the uncomfortable emotions that we're avoiding. But the key is the longer we keep pushing that away, the more it's going to persist and keeping us distracted. So the key is to build this place of curiosity
Yeah,
and move towards that
and
side.
yeah, and Justin commented again is like to fight overthinking. I keep the word overthinking on my mood board slash wall where I sit to remind me I am probably overthinking. Is like he's talking about awareness of overthinking makes me chill and remember one step at a time, and is like he's saying he loves this discussion. Thank you very much, Justin, and guys who
Great point, Justin.
thank you very much, Justin, for sharing your side of the story with us and all the advices. And if you guys are
Hmm.
enjoying this session, please do share it with your loved
Yep.
ones and let them know about the page. Thank you very much for all the continuous love. Thank you. And Hamza, man, this is, dude. As much as you start talking, as much as you like talk and stuff like this, I'm like, man, like 10,000 things comes in my brain, but the thing is, like, it makes sense to me. But if I want to put it in words, it
Is it the
might.
overthinking?
Yes, exactly. It is. It is. It is kind of an overthinking. But the thing is that we all know that we have an issue. So,
Hmm.
like, how we can tackle this? What is the medical side of it? That are they tackling it, or is just like they just prescribe you some pills and you go to a therapist and you work that thing out with that way, or actually we can sit down and because dude, come on, let's cut to the chase. Let's not beat around the bush. It's easier than done. So we
Hmm.
can talk about it, we can mention it, we can, spread the word, but unless the guy or her, you know, gets up and
Hmm.
makes this decision that I gonna be start like I will start thinking step by step of what I'm doing, okay, and
Right.
I'll start like paying attention to one thing, you know, and completing that one thing, and this way you can build your life and you can give it a format, but
Hmm.
it's easier than done. So is the whole like is the governments are doing anything about it? Is the society helping each other talking about these things, or is just like going to the therapy and getting some pills and just relax and just Xanax it up and that's it?
Good question. And it's I'm not sure if the government is doing anything about it personally. There is health systems in place to help, on the holistic side, but I feel the governments want people to be distracted because it's easier to control people and shape opinions when people are distracted. When
Hmm.
people are not thinking for themselves, they all want people to work and get a paycheck and go home and don't ask questions,
Exactly.
and we're moving into uh, a world where there's more control coming in and more thing. And if you're not conscious of all the rule changes and things coming, it's easier to control people when they're distracted.
Exactly.
So there's all.
How like okay, as I mentioned this to you last night, it's a cycle that apparently if you're trying to break this cycle, you either that 1%, or people will look at you like you're like what the hell you're doing, dude. You know, it's it kind of, you need to disconnect from this whole civilized system or cycle that it's being implemented on everyone's life, the 9 to 5 jobs, eating fast food, watching movies in the theater,
Yep.
or like a whole Netflix, going on Facebook and stuff like
Constant
this.
binging and
it,
just keeping distracted for long periods of time, distraction is normal. We all will get distracted at certain point,
mhm,
but it's about what are we distracting ourselves with? Is it something that's taken away from our life in the short period of time we have in this planet? So it's about, the key is first thing, coming back to it all, is understanding our attention itself. Why is it important to dwell upon the attention?
mhm,
And a lot of the masters and speakers and writers all talk about this, is where attention goes, energy flows. Our attention is what we hold in thought, for a long period of time is what manifests into our reality. What we frequently hold in thought. So understanding the power of our thoughts and emotions, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're thinking about something, there we're gonna bring that into our reality. A good example of this would be sickness. If someone tells themselves they're sick, they're giving their body the unconscious signals that they are sick, and they almost start getting sick after that point. If I feel a little scratchy, I've realized that. So it's about what we tell ourselves, what are our thoughts, because the thoughts are constantly shaping how we see our world, our worldview, our frame of our reality. So understanding that this is part of building one's attention is there, and once we can understand that distraction is normal, the key is bringing it back. That's the thing, back to the moment. That's where it is again, the eternal now. So distraction is gonna happen. Not be Don't be hard on yourself when you're being distracted.
mhm.
It's about being compassionate towards yourself, and bring yourself back every time you go away. And as you were saying, about the medical field, there's a lot of prescribed medicines that help against ADHD and focus and things, but are they the long-term solution to this? I don't think so.
It's just
I
making
think,
everyone more sick, man. It's just like making,
yeah,
it's adding up to your illnesses. It's not taking away.
dependencies as
Yeah.
well. It gives you dependency, and without that person, like, I cannot focus without this. I understand ADHD people do have serious ADHD, they need to go through the medicines. It's
Hmm.
not there, but I think it's not a long-term solution. It's one can train themselves and train their brain in the right way, then they don't need these dependencies to focus on.
Hmm.
So the key is developing concentration. Concentration is what is growing one's own attention span. And none of the schooling, none of the conditioning as we're growing up and taught concentration in schools. We're taught what to study. We're not taught how to study. You know,
Exactly,
um,
exactly. They just learned how to teach something that they didn't even learn it themselves. That's what I believe in.
yeah, yep. We're just kind of just taking that imprint of what it is. We're not understanding the why behind
Exactly,
anything either.
exactly.
And so we need to train ourselves. Concentration practice, the most important practice we need, because that branches out to everything else in our life. If you develop our concentration and hold our attention span longer, it'll improve our relationships, it'll improve the work we do, it'll improve our happiness as well. We won't be pulled
Hmm.
into, it's one thing that, and the most important thing is teaching kids how to concentrate. I think this information is, an adult can kind of make sense of it, what I'm talking, but I think this needs to be talked about with kids these days, because they're born into technology. They're born with, I know, 10-year-olds who have a phone these days, and do they have any form of media literacy, or all the stuff that's there that's telling them about that your phone, the power that the phone has and constantly distracting, you know kids, I mean, 5-year-old kids have iPads these days, and they're using that. It's training one's mind, and that's taken away from their own concentration. It's constantly, there. I'm not a person who's saying just lock up everything and go up to the up in the north and live by yourself.
Hmm.
It's about just developing your own concentration,
Yeah.
so you're not moving everything on autopilot. Autopilot is constantly doing that, from there. So developing concentration is very important, and we'll go over some things soon about how to become indistractable.
Hmm.
uh, but I just want to talk about how, the internal triggers are, again, understanding those internal triggers, that why am I getting distracted? Asking yourself those questions. What's causing this distraction? Is it because I'm avoiding this project? Because I feel like I cannot do this, or is it my own doubt, or is I caring what other person's thinking, or distracting myself when I'm walking on the street. When someone's looking at me, I look back in my phone so I don't have to make eye contact with them. That's a distraction. Using
Yeah.
that distraction as a way, we're just trying to use technology to distract ourselves on purpose, so we not have to deal with the social connection as well, in
And
the real in-person
and
connection.
and Justin is saying even Master Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi said to concentrate is like this is the way. That's a good one. That's a good one, Justin. I mean, dude,
Uh,
it's like again, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a pessimist. I don't know. It's not that I'm not trying to help. I would love for this thing to be more, out there and people get much more familiar. Like they get familiar with this whole like with all of these issues. But
mhm.
I mean, I can see it with the people around me. I'm sure you can see it with the people around you that it's just being so normalized. It's just like there is no
Mhm.
problem. There is no problem if you have ADHD or there's. I mean, okay, sorry if I'm using ADHD, which we know that's a serious
Mhm.
illness, but as in like to be distracted easily, like while driving, or like while eating, or like this whole
Mhm.
thing, which we were even talking about this whole whenever you want to install an app or go on some some websites, they always keep track of your whole thing as that those cookies you need to press allow. You need to
Yeah.
allow them to go through your phone, through your personal stuff and stuff like this, which is annoying to me, man. It's like literally annoying. It's
Yeah.
like
But it's becoming normalized. That's the scary
well,
part,
that's the thing. That's the
We're
thing.
just
I like
giving away our rights and our own data without for just convenience.
What the thing is, like as I told you last night, and you corrected me. You said don't use that term for it, which it made sense. But the thing is, like we're kind of going against the tidal wave, man. That's how I mean, unless someone like like we make a group and like we all like preaching about this to, you know, mass awakening of you know, the whole like
Hmm.
just waking everyone up, dude, this is happening to your
Hmm.
life. People are like spying on, not literally spying on you, but they're literally digging into,
Surveillance
yeah,
capitalism.
yeah, it's
That's
like
what we're moving towards.
remotely. It's like it's a remote CCTV. They're just following up with, dude, I was just
Hmm.
looking, I was looking for some gadgets for my laptop, and I just ended up in some, I think I was on Amazon. Then I returned back to Facebook and Instagram. I'm getting sponsored
Same products.
products like this GB this, that GB this. I'm like, what? I was on Amazon. I just pressed I agree to the cookies. Now I'm getting everything everywhere. It's dude, there it's like apparently they are willing to make us lazy. That's why technology is at your fingertips. Maybe
Hmm.
I believe that there is a greater cause behind this. This is not just to do like it's not a one well it's not like a one-off thing, you know.
Hmm.
There is a major plan behind it. That's what I'm trying to find out, and I want to see what's your thoughts on that. Which we need to talk about, like life hacks that we can even like
Hmm.
indulge ourselves into it as well, so we can stay on point and be to concentrate.
No, it's true. And technology is getting smarter, and it's pushing us into this space of just conditioning and shaping our opinions, through that. And there's so much censorship out there and fake news, and that's there. But we can blame technology all we want. Distraction starts from within, you know. And once we can learn to again come back to our own self, manage our own internal triggers with greater focus and a fuller life, that's when we really start, you know. Reshaping and not being pulled into it, because technology is going to just try to control us more, and other things are overthinking and mental health. There's all these things are going to come up, but if we can prioritize our attention and value that our attention is the most important thing. This quote that I've kind of came up when I was going through my journaling, it came to my mind, and it basically says, in a world full of distractions,
Hmm.
your greatest currency is your attention. In a world full of distractions, your
Hmm.
greatest currency is your attention. And
Exactly.
that means is that in today's day and age, everything oil and other things that were in the market is now data is the biggest commodity right now. And how do you get data is through attention. So
Mm-hmm.
understanding your time and your attention is the most invaluable thing in this world. You know, we'll start looking at it differently, and seeing that it's important to value our time and what we're putting towards not wasting that. Because when it's time and we die, and life happens. Um, but we won't realize it till we reach that stage. We're like, wow, I was distracted by all these things, and where did life go? Look at this year, how fast it went by. Since March, I think, to now, this year just went by super quickly. And it made me realize that time is only going to keep moving faster. But unless we become conscious of our attention where we're putting towards, that then only we can live a fulfilled life.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. So I wanted to go over some of the things that we can do, life hacks
Mm-hmm.
to become indistractable. There's a few different things that have come through, I've thought of, and that I feel can really help. It's a lot of different things, so choose whatever people feel like using from these. But the first and most important thing, again, become curious about self-exploration. Become curious about your own attention. Why does my attention move this way or focus on this? Why am I attracted towards that or this thing? Pull towards that, become curious towards it. And that self exploration is done through different techniques and different ways of exploring our own self and knowing ourselves. Because that's the most important thing, is know thyself in one's world.
Mm-hmm.
But society doesn't teach us to know ourselves. We're trying to seek everything outside, the knowledge from outside. But understanding ourselves is most important, and understanding where our focus and attention goes. Uh, so become curious about self-exploration. See, who is observing this. Who is the observer right now? Is it me, the observer, or who's the internal observer that's looking at this, reading this article, looking at the phone? Become the observer of your life more. The witnesser of
Mm-hmm.
everything that's coming in front of you. That's how you explore. And one of the biggest techniques that I have used in the last 3.5 years has been meditation and mindfulness. It is key. And I think it's one of the most important skills that's underrated, not taught in schools, not given value towards, is just quieting our internal chatter,
Man, we
quieting the
dude,
monkey
so,
mind.
dude, sorry to cut you off. Exactly. They just made us. I think they just gifted us that monkey brain, you know? It's like, I don't know, man. I feel it this way. I mean, we didn't
We've
learn.
had it for centuries, but now it's becoming harder to tame that because there's so much more. We're constantly connected. It's constantly one thing after the other. How often do we bring space between our tasks and other things that's there? And that's what mindfulness and meditation has helped me. It's helped me to be compassionate towards myself, allow myself to bring myself into the moment. And by focusing on my breath, it brings me to the moment, to this moment very now. A good, easy way to do this is to, as I'm even talking, I'm observing my feet on the floor, doing a body scan technique, focusing on my breathing
Mm-hmm.
as I'm talking, and it's consciously bringing me into the present. Because, our focus is weird. We always focus like, 100% focus is very hard towards something. I think it's really 80 to 90% when we put our focus towards it. If we put the other 15, 20% into breathing, that'll bring you to this constant, consistent focus that allow you to stay consistent with one thought that's there. So what all meditation is not something you have to do again in a cave somewhere far away. It's very simple. 2 minutes, even. You can start with 2 minutes a day,
Mm-hmm.
by just sitting down, focusing, taking a few deep breaths, and then closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths and focusing in on your breathing in and out, expanding and contracting sensation. Imagine the weight of your body on this seat right now, the weight of your arms on the table, the clothes on your skin. Basically, what you're doing is bringing your five senses to the moment, focusing what your five senses are experiencing now.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to take you away from the overthinking. That's going to take you away from other things that are there. You're just constantly focusing on your five senses around you. So that'll really help. And this is how you build that self-awareness, that concentration on people to hold a consistent thought by focusing on our breath. And just know that you will get distracted. That is normal. Distraction will come. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, if it doesn't come, then you must be the biggest guru of the world. That's not, that's there.
Which
But
the point is, you need to realize that moment that you're getting distracted. This is
exactly.
that's the time you need to pinpoint the problems, which you can work on it.
Yep. Yeah. So key is again, you're focusing on your breath or being mindful. It doesn't have to be in sit down proper meditation. It could be just
Mm-hmm.
being focusing on whatever task you're doing completely.
Mm-hmm.
And key is to notice. Notice is the word here when your attention goes away, when you get distracted. And the key is to bring it back to the moment, back to your breath. Every time you go away, for your distraction goes away, bring it back to the breath. Every time it goes away, bring it back to the breath. And as you bring back to the breath, you're bringing yourself, every time you bring back, it's like a rep for your brain, like lifting a rep. And you're
Mm-hmm.
training that attention, that concentration by every time you bring your attention back to the breathing. So that is a very powerful way, and this is how you build the self-awareness, so you can notice your own triggers. Now, as you mentioned, I get distracted. I'm like, oh, why did I get distracted by this or
Mm-hmm.
things? So this is training my brain. And now when I'm going on a text and I feel a trigger to open Instagram, I catch myself
Mm-hmm.
and then I take a deep breath, 3 deep breaths. Is I've changed that trigger into something positive and focusing on my breath. And as that, after that, I'm like, oh, I don't need to look at Instagram or this other app or this thing. I'm just bringing space between each of the tasks that are there So it's very important to bring that space again, not going from app to app distraction, because all of these apps like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of them are trying to get as much screen time from you as possible and take you away from your own life and your own mission. But if you get become conscious and bring in the breathing and space, it will really help.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I really like is yoga, because yoga helps you to bring a mind body connection through conscious breathing. So we can focus on our body and breathing and stretching through that, and it really brings you aligned with your body mind connection. It's powerful. Martial arts is another one. Martial arts train you to bring that warrior focus.
Mm-hmm.
It's really powerful as well. It's the best thing for concentration actually as well. And I suggest everyone to have some form of martial arts training, and you can see how much wonders it does to you
like
and your own confidence as well.
like any form of activity, like any sports, anything that
Yeah,
makes you.
cardio that gets your energy, pent up energy out, because we have sometimes a lot of pent up energy, especially nowadays because we're stuck inside, staying home more often. So there's a lot of energy we need to get out. So as you get that pent up energy out, endorphins, it clears our mind, clears the fog from our brain that's there. So definitely any kind of exercise or anything that whatever suits you best, just getting
Mm-hmm.
that heart running, blood running,
Yeah.
The other thing is conscious breath work. Breathing in conscious breath work is another way. It's just using certain breaths to reach certain stages, oxygenating your mind through breathing. And it's powerful. It's really powerful. I've done a lot of breath work in the last year, and it's just put me in this constant state of bliss and openness. And my focus is just so powerful with that. It's crazy. Um, the other big one is, I would say sleep.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Something we
Exactly.
underrate.
Yeah.
Sleep is very important. I was a type of person most of my life, like, nope, I'll sleep when I'm dead, kind of
Mm-hmm.
mentality, and I'll keep
Mm-hmm.
doing and working and hustling, and realize I was getting less productive each day because I didn't have enough sleep. And when I don't have enough sleep, my focus is hard and I'm getting more distracted by everything else that's out there. It's going to keep. So find whatever is the ideal sleep for you. It may be 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever is that. Every person's body is different. Just finding that optimal point, not sleeping too little or too much, finding the right point that's there
Mm-hmm.
is very important. And now I finally started valuing sleep so much and making that a priority.
Yeah, man.
um, Another one is, I like is journaling. Journaling is basically the ability to hold a thought for longer and continuing that. So I
Mm-hmm.
like to journal something what's in my mind and my thoughts, and maybe journal about my triggers, and helps me dig deep in, hone down into that trigger and what's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just working through that trigger. And really, journaling is powerful because it helps you again to hold that thought there. Um, the other things again we talked about yesterday is the nutrition part is
Exactly.
also a big change. Certain foods make our brains more foggy and keeps us distracted. A lot of fried foods, a lot of processed sugar, and uh,
Basically,
just
processed food in general.
yeah,
Like
yeah. A
it's.
lot of carbs, unhealthy carbs as well, processed food. A lot of red meat takes a lot of for the body to break down, so cutting down on the red meats as well, moving to more plant-based diet. I'm not saying one needs to go full vegan, but be able to regulate that. The greens are really good. Some of the brain foods, which I really learned from Jim Quick, actually, I've taken
Mm-hmm.
his course on Super Brain. I'm a big follower of his podcast, and he talks about the top brain foods, and it's like avocados, eggs, leafy greens, blueberries, broccoli,
Walnuts.
walnuts.
Yeah.
Walnuts even look like a shape of a brain,
Yeah,
so they're
yeah.
really good for your brain as well. Carrots are really good
Yeah,
too.
man, almonds
Uh,
as well. Almonds are like
almonds, yeah.
I mean,
My favorite is dark chocolate. That's also really good for your brain.
yeah,
Dark chocolate.
but not the processed one. If you can get your
Oh
hands
yeah,
on the proper ones that you,
natural.
that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. I mean, dude, as we discussed, I mean, at the end we reached to a point that everything is at our fingertips. It's just that
Hmm.
we just
Hmm.
need to know how to use it or like how to implement it and apply that formula in our life. It's just that
Yeah.
we got handed with a manual that we didn't even read it. Someone else read it for us, and they
There was
miss
no manual.
no, the thing is, like, they read the manual, they didn't understand anything of it, and they just
Hmm.
took whatever highlights of that manual
Hmm.
and pass it on. It's like pass it on, pass it on.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
whoever is on the top was like overseeing this, and it was like,
Hmm.
okay, these are a bunch of dumb idiots,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
let's provide them with the tools. Let's see what they do with it, which most of us are falling into the trap. And by, like, fast food, it's one of the prime
Yeah.
examples that, sadly to say, that the Middle East region, we are used to sleeping late and eating late. For
Eating
example,
late as
yeah,
well is
it's.
another thing.
I mean, you were in Dubai. I'm still in Dubai. You know how people over here they eat. I mean, they go to a Burger King or a
The
McDonald's,
food
like,
culture.
yeah, it's like 2 a.m. and they order like a huge ass meal, and they're like full, which
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
like, it's as you mentioned food. Why I'm focusing on food and sleep, because your body needs at least 4 hours before your body
Hmm.
falls asleep to digest all these things, to to get the full energy out of the food.
Hmm.
The fast food is just like, it's like an in and out. It's like a drive through.
Yeah.
You eat it and it's gone. It's like, that's it. There's nothing into it. There's no nutrition values, nothing, like literally nothing.
Right.
Like, basically, I believe it's like, our only medicine is our food. Whatever you eat is you.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
why not?
What
I
we
mean,
put in our body.
okay, people know that I'm vegan. Okay, that's great, but I'm not trying to promote veganism. But the thing is, like, it's healthy. You don't need to go
Yep.
and buy vegan cheese and stuff like this. I'm not talking about that. Like, eat much more greens.
Hmm.
These
Hmm.
things literally have, like, they have a different value, different anatomy into them that can literally help you. And I've seen the drastic changes in me. Hamza, you've seen the drastic changes in you, because come on, man.
Yep.
Back in the days, you were chubby, like,
Yeah. I burned 35 kilos as well through
here. I
changing
mean,
my
here you
diet,
go.
and
I mean, here you go.
it
That's
makes a big impact. And it wasn't just my physical health, it was impact my mental health as well. And I realized how depressed and I had so much anxiety and things, but all I needed was
exactly.
to the diet was a big point. And now I think the right diet and the right brain supplements is also really helps.
Hmm.
A lot of different kinds of mushroom superfoods are really good as well for the brain. Nootropics, the healthier natural ones is very important. So changing one's diet can really make an impact in developing one's concentration, because all of it impacts that. I wanted to go over one more thing that's
Sure.
really important. It's identifying your priorities in life.
Hmm.
Then you won't get distracted. Once you know what's important, what do I value? Do I value family time? It's very important. I value my exercise. I value this. Once you identify and prioritize what's important to you in your life, you're not going to be distracted by the things, because it's important to you know uh, put the priorities, and then you'll be more pulled into the why this is important to me.
Hmm.
And as you bring in that why, then the distractions will kind of go subside, because this is important. I value this, so that's why I'm putting the time towards this, and I'm not going to let that distraction. So setting that intention and identifying those priorities is very important. I use Stephen Covey's time management matrix. That's really helped me. My dad initially showed me that way before, and it's really helped me. It's like a quadrant that helps you to prioritize better. So I would definitely look it up, whoever is interested in time managing themselves better that way. um, One and last few things that I wanted to discover, turning off unnecessary notifications. on your phone is very important. Turning off those notifications. So I'm getting a chat from like, oh, this person joined Viber on this thing, or I got this. And every time I get a vibration on my phone, I'm just going to feel that trigger. And
Mm-hmm.
that trigger is going to distract me from whatever task I'm doing, is sending an important email at work to other things.
Exactly.
So limiting your notifications and customizing your apps in that way, is very important. What are the ones that's important that's going to be, make the other ones silent or remove them, because your phone is going to vibrate every second with the millions of apps that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But how often are we going to open it and check it? So every time you feel a vibration on your phone or you feel a trigger, take a deep breath. Switch that with a deep breath. Take a one or two deep breaths, and that's all it takes to create that shift in your life. Just small little changes like these, and it can really reframe, from that side. So all of these things, as you learn to become, apply these, you really can train yourself to become indistractable, you know and I forgot to mention one other thing is also is not checking your phone in the first thing you wake up in the morning. That's creating again a reactive mind, because you open up, you don't know what notifications are going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be pulled into all, you don't know what's there, and that could shift because your mind is very impressionable in the first hour when you wake up. So you want to put all the positive things to set your day or start your day off right after the right sleep. So in the morning, I'll do my stretching and meditation in the morning, or something else. Not look at my phone instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Only when I choose to, that's when I'm going to look. And be able to manage those triggers. So try to also not before 15, 20 minutes before sleeping, and the morning also 15, 20 minutes to half an hour after waking up, not only checking the phone then
Mm-hmm.
you know it's again reframing that, because distractions again are unintended intentions, so one needs to make them intentional. That's the key of bringing the
Exactly.
attention back.
It's the matter of practice. We need to really focus and pinpoint and like find out these problems and work on it. Is it's I mean, we can sit down and talk about this like for hours, but if there's no action, there is no willpower that you
Has
literally,
to action.
yeah, you need the initiative to do it. You can't just like sit on your
Hmm.
ass and think that, okay, that thing is gonna
So
fall.
important.
Man, I mean, we're gonna be having another episode on next Sunday, 25th. Again with
Hmm.
Hamza, we're gonna be diving more deeper into the whole thing. Which our second episode's topic gonna be self-awareness. It's gonna be around that, and we're gonna discuss more because that's why we want to stretch it out to like 3 episodes. Which I still think there is a lot we need to cover, man. And it's a great topic.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying our chat.
Yeah, man. Dude, I mean, uh, I mean, I hope everyone who watched really enjoyed this because I personally enjoyed it because it's like it's actually getting a therapy session for free. We're just we're just getting someone else's experience because he's doing this for a living. He needs to interview people. So he actually take the time to work on himself first so you can realize these things about other people. So I'm sure it's easier for you to just find out these things on anyone easily, like let's say from the first 10 minutes that you sit with them and you have a conversation, which is a great thing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
It's because I've trained my attention to focus on the right things to kind of be able to discern what the truth is.
mhm,
I'm not letting distractions come in. So that's very important. So all of these things, as one starts to become undistractable, that's when the real journey of self-discovery begins. That's when we learn to train our attention. One can truly trust to find and discover their life's purpose and focus all their attention towards achieving it. You know,
mhm,
because and know that distractions are going to be everywhere throughout one's life, and
mhm,
sometimes distractions are good for you, taking you away from certain things. Just make sure it's the right distractions that you're going towards, allowing, because distractions are going to be everywhere again, you know so if you're going to be conscious, at least choose the right distractions that help you grow,
mhm,
towards one's life. So make that intentional attention intentional and see your own power grow.
mhm.
And remember, the most important thing I mentioned earlier: in a world full of distractions, your greatest currency is your attention. So
Exactly, man.
protect it, save it, nurture it.
Yeah, we're not talking about like you're sitting on your ass and you're playing Call of Duty and your mom calls you. That's a distraction that you cannot avoid. You need to go there because she's calling you. So, like don't get distracted with useless stuff. sorry if I'm using like such a like a low standard. I'm not like as good as Hamza that he's using all this terminologies and like
No, no.
much more businessman ethics. I'm much more of like I'm not like a ghetto guy, but I'm like I'm much more. I like to simplify things for myself. I
It's
like
good
to
to simplify. So
yeah.
I think it's important to simplify the context from there. So I think you're doing a great job. So
So I like to simplify things for me because we had it the hard way, man. In our schools, everyone like every teacher was having like the teacher, you could see it on his face. He's having a hard time explaining this for like let's say 30 students in one class. That's why he says, "Listen, I will say it once and whoever listen gonna learn it. If you don't listen, I don't care." So we had it this way.
Mhm.
So that's why we 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 got older with this mentality of like, which is sad to say, which is like it's a much more of a Middle East type of uh, uh, it's like an attitude. We just say, oh, okay, if he did it, he did it. Why I do it? I'm like this. Accept
Khalli
me.
Walli.
Yeah, exactly. Like leave it alone. Leave it. Whatever happens. But man, I'm seriously like I had a blast talking about this. I can't wait for the second session that we're going to be talking about self-awareness. Any final words from your side, man? What else do you want to add to the session?
Thank you so much for having me, Dirty. It was such a great chat and giving me the opportunity to speak about this. Very passionate about, training that. And, again, one just needs to slowly just reframe themselves and really valuing their attention and know that it's a very important thing in this world. So treat it and make it like see it with value that this is there for you and you need to um, manage our own triggers. And once we can learn to manage our triggers, then we can manage anything in our life. So
Exactly.
so win back that attention. Don't let the monkey mind control it. Choose it and make a conscious decision to where you put your attention towards. Really excited about next episode as well, and looking forward to diving deep into self-awareness and
Man,
discovering one's past.
same here. Yes, we're going to be talking about a lot more interesting things that they're all intertwined with these problems. It's one like major issue
Yeah.
that has it's like it's like a it's like one musical genre that has shit ton of other subgenres and like subcategories under it, which is different
Yeah.
illnesses, different type of
Hmm.
just I would call it like mind games that somehow when you sit down it's like your brain is playing tricks on you somehow. I feel it this way. But man, second episode is gonna come on Sunday the 25th. It's gonna be on 9 p.m. We're gonna be talking about self-awareness, and you can find Hamza on Instagram. I already put your handle Hamza989 on Instagram.
Thank you.
You can follow him over there. He like puts a lot of interesting stories on his thing on his on his IG. And thank you very much, guys, for tuning in and joining us for this session. Please share this video with your loved ones, and if you're finding it interesting, please refer them to the page so we can have more traffic to the page and we can create more content like this for you guys. And one last thing, if you guys like to get an illustration like the one you've seen in the starting soon page in the beginning of the show, please contact my good friend Bundlehead. He is the guy who is responsible for this amazing illustration. Contact him. He's a cool dude. He's a cool cat. He doesn't charge you that much, so get in contact with him and tell him that you're coming from Convos and Chill. And by the way, go to Convos and Chill IG page, follow me over there, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I have all these episodes over there. So sorry, I need to do this ad, those advertisement, bro. This is
Of course.
part of the whole thing, man. I'm part of the cycle, bro. But anyway, man, it was a blast having you on. Which we're gonna be doing it
Thank
for
you.
another 2 episodes, man. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. And Hamza, take care of yourself and have a good day, man.
Thanks a lot, man. All the
Cheers.
best, and thanks for having me.
Cheers, man. Take care of yourself, guys.
Bye.